What's good, man? It's your player partner, Packboy Dolo, checking in with another episode of the Round the Clock Thinker Show. You feel me? And I'm here with Mr. Sensei Fouché. We about to kick off another one. I think this is like our third or fourth one. It don't even matter because we just gonna keep shooting them, keep getting this game off to you. First and foremost, you already know that the show is brought to you by the Treeway Winterwear Collection, man. You can cop the drip. Mr. Sensei got his up on the wall, you know what I'm saying? So make sure you go check that out. The links are in the description. Also, the Pretty Much Understanding is in the description. You can get the physical Amazon copy, which will be repurposed soon. Like I got this, I think it's the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, and it's like a pocket book. And I was like, I want that. I don't want the, like how I got it done now.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna repurpose it and put it back out. So I don't think I told you that.
No, that's kind of smooth, man. You know,
Yeah.
almost like a little pocket pamphlet.
Yes, like a little personal. Yeah, you can take it around and you feeling a little lost in your day. Pull it out your pocket. Go to the section you highlighted. You get back on track. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the ebook, man, is in the description. PayHelp website link. Check that out, man. Everything on there is gonna benefit you for sure. Today I'm gonna be in interview mode, man. I'm really not, cause I'm sitting here with a giant, someone who studied. You've been studying for over 30 years.
Yes.
Just different information.
Yes. Probably since, I want to say seriously, maybe since I was about 20 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
I'm 52 now, so yeah, let's say about 32 years where it started to become more high level. First book that I could remember off the top of my head, and any of you old school cats remember Behold a Pale Horse.
What's that about?
It's based on a lot of government conspiracy theories. And back in those times, for us cats coming up in the late 80s,
Yeah.
or the mid-late 80s, you know, there was a lot of revolutionary type of information being spoken in hip-hop. There was a lot of, I want to say, like neighborhood awareness and development type of information that was being provided.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I want to say that was like the key when we had artists like KRS-One from Boogie Down Productions and Public Enemy. You know, a lot of people would mention A Tribe Called Quest, but I would specifically mention more the artist De La Soul.
Okay.
You know,
Wow.
and even some cats out west. You know, you had a West Coast anthem about stopping the gun violence, as well as back in the East with the self-destruction movement and whatnot.
Yeah.
A lot of artists combining and talking about, you know, having less crime and restriction in the neighborhoods, and really trying to improve ourselves as a community.
Wow. And that's what the book broke down pretty much.
It just broke down a lot of the conspiracies
Okay.
that was combating or creating a lot of the situations,
Okay.
you know, within the community, like the crack cocaine epidemic.
Right, yeah, I
You know,
remember
and
that
how
heavily.
that wound up coming to fruition. You know, a lot of these different things that are kind of going on now are transpiring within government movement. A lot of theories were spoken or predicted in some sense way back then when this specific person wrote the book. His name is David Icke.
David Icke.
Yeah.
And it was Behold the Pale Horse.
Behold a Pale Horse.
Behold
and
a Pale
last name is spelled ICKE, if I'm specifically correct. David Icke.
Is that similar to the one book you have in your bookshelf, The Unseen Hand?
It's The Unseen Hand was printed, I want to say, 4 years after Behold the Pale Horse.
Yeah.
And it's kind of something that progresses forward from the initial information that was kind of provided within Behold the Pale Horse. You know,
Okay.
for me, The Unseen Hand by Ralph Epperson is more specific documentation, definitions, and facts into different governments, how they move, and the different doctrines or references into the occurrences within specific points in history.
Wow.
And the Behold a Pale Horse was more theoretical, not only in current time at that time, but also into future predicting, according to what they knew at the moment about different entities or organizations.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like now we talk about the whole MAGA thing. You know what I'm saying? And this is an introduction into, at that moment, theories that were predated to what's going on now.
Wow. So we're dealing with someone who's very intelligent, a profound researcher, man. Make sure you get your pen and your pads out, because I got mine right here. And I did title today's show and did my meaning. I did it kind of how I do it. But instead of the start points of me making statements and rolling off of the statements, I'm gonna be making questions. I created questions, and I'm in interview mode today. You dig? So the name of today's show is, no matter what it is what it is, and the show must goes on. The show must go on, man. And what I mean by that is things happen in life, good and bad, beautiful and ugly. The key is to remain neutral at the core and not over-process either. You got any thoughts on that, Mr. Sensei?
No, I think you just kind of introduced everything splendidly.
Okay, bet. Good to know, man. So chapter 1, we're going to fall into the family folly. Mr. Sensei Fouché got his project. You present your project to him, the patient.
Patient XY1973 330311. Basically, I would label it like a psychology type of hip hop or rap or music using a hip hop background or a bass.
Right.
And it just kind of goes into the process in the feelings in your life development, the different stages of what you go through, your encounters, the feelings of the connections of your past, the questioning of your current situation, and the processing on how to make a future happen.
Right. And it's deep. I related to those programs back in the day when self-help development material first came out. They will order programs on these overnight commercials. They'll promote these, advertise these programs. The people order the programs. They get them in the mail, and it's this box, and it has books and CDs, and then you pop the CD in. It has audios. He had this project that he's done. It's like the audio version of that. You know what I'm saying? So I highly recommend you check that out. I'm gonna drop the link into the description on the back end of this show once it released, so y'all can get into that. Especially the these here, the going in between each track. What do you call them, Mr. Sensei?
We label them prescriptions.
Yes, each prescription when you're acting out as a doctor and then a patient that has been admitted and that's in a box mentally, and the whole concept of this project is him coming out of the box. I'm telling you, you better go check it out. I'm telling you, real talk. So
I was most interested in what you thought about, the describing of, the project, because I know it's hip hop based. I wasn't sure how to specifically kind of define it.
Yeah, I definitely see it as like one of those like a self-help program, but an audio version. And then when y'all check it out, the sound is different. So you really have to be listening to what he's saying. You can't be caught up and wanting to bop and be like hearing this generic terminology, because it's not it. It's way deeper than that. So make sure you check out this project. I'm gonna drop it in the description. And we're actually we're rolling off of one of his corrective behavior stages, and it's like an interlude. He ran interludes throughout this project, and he talks about family, which I just dropped the show not too long ago about. So chapter 1 is the family folly, and my question for you, Mr. Sensei, is at what point did we create an expectation for quote unquote family to owe us loyalty? For some reason, we feel like they're obligated to owe us loyalty. And what's crazy is on the back end, when they show that they're not loyal, we say, okay, I gotta deal with it. That's just how they is. So where did that start?
I want to say that programming probably started from the time that you was born. And
Wow.
It's instilled throughout society, and a lot of the television programming especially.
Yeah.
A lot of the conversations that you would randomly have within society, the references, the common references that are made in statements in regards to what, family or friends are supposed to represent.
Wow. And from that, we feel like an obligation to attach ourselves to these people.
Exactly.
And be okay with their dishonesty or them not.
Yeah, a lot of the common rhetoric or statements is, well, they family. You're supposed to deal with that, or you have to deal with that. And my reality came to, hey, I wouldn't take this from some other person. Why would I take this from this person when it doesn't make me feel good?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But, that's basically how we're conditioned in a lot of different cultures. You could go down the line in a lot of different societies in common day. I'm just thinking now about arranged marriages. You know what I'm saying? And how families have a sense of control, or you're entitled in those type of conditioned societies to do for your family by committing to this arranged marriage.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Someone that's a stranger, or maybe someone of some relation, but you don't really connect to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But through outside arrangements, within the inside of your home, and the home inside of you and what you believe is supposed to be close to you or protect you. You know what I'm saying? And they selling you out.
Wow. And you was talking to me about these documentaries that you've been watching on different cultures where these families basically sell each other out for position of power.
A lot of our viewers would be specifically in understanding when I would say the name, or in relation to the name Cleopatra. We would all know the name Cleopatra, the Egyptian queen from way back in the days. The way that she kept that rulership, as well as got to the point of having control of that title and having the rulership of Egypt, was to kill her brothers and her sisters.
Wow. Didn't even know that. And that's how she got the title and became this glorious, glamorous name.
She was married to her brother. They
Wow.
married within their families in order to keep the rulership, within the family. In case there was any kind of backstabbing or cutthroat that happened, it was still within the family, not changed over to the person that was married into the family.
Wow.
But not only in the culture of that ancient Egyptian story or that figure Cleopatra, all of these different other rulerships. If you go into the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, what I'm saying? It all just kind of, it's a continuous thing that's just a mind conditioning of people more than it is a specific point in time.
Wow. And history repeats itself.
History repeats itself.
So, with all this going on, that means that there had to be a certain underlying belief, pretty much, from somebody to where, in reality, they were saying, yo, fuck your family. It's more about this.
Yeah, it was all about notoriety, position, and power.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to be better than the other person. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't just, be happy alongside with them.
Right.
You basically had to have what they wanted.
Right.
You wanted what they have.
Right, to exceed them.
To exceed them.
So how is it that these two different ideologies where, okay, you got these people, they say, hey, exceed them, fuck them, just knock them off, take the throne, take the power. And then you got these others, they say, man, that's my blood, that's my cousin, that's my brother, my sister, they would never do that to me. And then when they do it, hey, it's just how they is. Where did that happen to where it ended up being two different ideologies, and it seems like one still to this day overrides the other?
Let's be a little bit more specific in the question.
So you got some people, they still see it as, I don't really want to have a power position, quote unquote, but in reality they do. And then you got other people that is open to it. They're like, yeah, I don't care about having a family member. I'm more so caring about having this throne, this position of power. So how is it that these two different programs happened? Why didn't one stay consistent? Why is it that the one that's still consistent today, which is the program of, yeah, that's my blood, that's my, they'll never do that to me. That's still consistent, but the other program is like lesser. It's a smaller percentage that wants to have the power and take the power.
Well, one thing I talk about a lot is the immaturity of human beings or people. And it's almost like, a jealousy thing, what I'm saying? Like children. Like, you have this toy and I don't have it, and I, want what you have and I'm jealous of you. And then it's almost like, you go and take it.
Right.
Play with it like it's yours.
Yeah,
and then you have this childish exchange of, this squabble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just, for me, it just seems to be that the human psychology in a high percentage in society operates from an immature base of processing and thinking. And you have a smaller percentage that have actually matured to where they're able to understand interdependence,
right,
and correlation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's way less about the ego and understanding how to lead.
Right.
How to organize and lead groups as opposed to control and dominate over other people or groups.
So what you saying that just made me think about it. It's actually 3 different ideologies because it's the ones that see it for what it is. You know, they're like, hey, look, I'm more focused on morals. I'm more focused on being interdependent. And then you got the ones they're basically submissive. That's what I was trying to get to.
Okay.
They're submitting to, okay, that person got it. Yeah, that's the one with the throne. If he want me to go knock off his sister and my sister so that he can excel, I'll do it. And then you got that other guy right here on the throne. So it's like 3 different ideologies.
You gotta watch the second person that you're talking about because, you know, they're just another version, a lower version of a cutthroat and trying to position themselves to take you out eventually.
Right.
Because once you compromise, you know, their intentions, their true intentions, then, you know what I'm saying, you just an ends to a mean.
Right. So they're not technically submitting. They're just camouflaging themselves.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. See that? So I'll roll into this next question is why is most people oblivious to being more open to other ideologies instead of being so judgmental?
Again, it's just a conditioning because of a majority. And what I mean by the majority is, I guess in technical terms, they would call it like an oligarchy or a conglomerate of individuals that have an amount of wealth, and through that wealth, they're able to control a certain ideology of conditioning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So through that conditioning, then people follow blindly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or it's forced into where you are, it is strongly suggested for you to follow, or else there'll be consequences. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like an invisible threat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Invisible threat.
So it's almost like, you know, we really want you to comply. You know what I'm saying? We're not telling you that you have to. We really want you to comply. You know, if you don't, then we might have to go into making this decision.
Wow.
And then more probability because of their lack of control due to the wealth factor. You know what I'm saying? Then they'll have their they're basically buying for the control of the conditioning of the masses.
Wow. And everything comes back down to basically having a certain amount of wealth. Like the money runs the show.
You basically, well, you know, with the money, you know, you feel a sense of entitlement. You feel a sense of comfortableness.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then through that, or just controlling the comfort level of people by creating conditions of need. And then through those conditions of need, then that forces people into being followers because they don't not only have the fortitude or the information into knowing how to process forward into believing in themselves or providing for themselves.
Right.
They're, I want to say specifically into being conditioned into the processing or the thinking that they need these other people in order to exist or in order to what's the word I'm looking for?
Would it be survive?
To survive. There we go. Survive.
And that would tie back into like the ancestor days.
Yes.
How it all began pretty much, where they needed tribes, and it was still like saber-toothed tigers that existed. So okay, they felt more safe to be with the tribe because they had less of a chance of getting eaten by the saber-tooth tiger, and they had a higher chance of catching a kill and actually having food for the gathering and for themselves.
I mean, we could think about it in early times of African American ancestry in this country, to where you was conditioned into believing that you had to produce for the master or the slave owner. You know what I'm saying? For you to live or have a lot of slaves, if they had the ability to be free, would not leave or give themselves the opportunity to free themselves.
Why is that?
They would happily live within the conditioning because of the fear. The fear that, what if I get caught? You know what I'm saying? Or, will I make it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But here, you comfortable with living off of the pig intestines and whatever scraps or leftovers that was left to you.
Right. Wow. See, that's deep. That's deep. It's like that fear transpired into different conditions. Like as the ages went on and time went on, now instead of fearing if I run away, I'll get, whatever will happen to me, or fearing that if the saber-tooth tiger is around the corner and I'm not with my tribe, it could eat me. There is more so now is fear about taking a risk to put yourself in better position. Fear of not believing in what your family talking about, where you from, and stepping into the unknown and being like, okay, I'm gonna go create my own life, create my own situation. It's still people that's stuck and caught up in that type of fear.
Yes.
So
and it was funny that you mentioned, because when we use these certain analogies to describe, you think of it as from a child, you're conditioned into this control. Let's say, you grow up in some form of oppressed or abusive type of home situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then this conditioning, it's almost like in the slave mentality where, you're given the impression into your belief and how, you're supposed to follow these people even though that they're hurting you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, I'm thinking of the simple abuse in any kind of abusive situation, domestic abuse.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So even though there might be an opportunity for you to be free, you won't even take the steps because you have this, this abuse syndrome.
Abuse syndrome. Wow. It's like an obligation.
Yes.
Right here, I want to pivot real quick back to this term family. And one of your corrective behaviors on your project, make sure you go check it out. You said these friends or family, again, to use those specific reference titles, are true your adversaries, or are they adversaries really? These people are not your allies, but are really your allies. A best of oxymorons. Let me explain. Expectations, every model, including yours, includes that glitch. Could you decipher that for the people?
Well, let's see. Friends. Yeah, they're on your side, or are they really on your side? What are their true intentions? You know what I'm saying? Again, what's the base of their processing and the relationship? Are they trying to hold you back, or are they trying to move you forward? Same thing with family members. You believe these family members are supposed to help you and keep you secure.
Right.
But are they really doing that? You know what I'm saying? So in a case, in some references, yeah, they are. But then in other references, they aren't.
Right.
But you can't, hold them to the same level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People that are doing good by you, you got to, have a closer and a higher regard with and to them. And people that really don't factor to your better benefit, you need to minimize them or disconnect from them. And then when I talk about the glitch is you trying to convince yourself that you tripping for thinking that you have to let them go, or how you feel about them and how they resonate with you, or what they did to you and how you feel about that.
And it's hard to go against that because it's a collective of them over there saying the same thing.
And there's going to be people around you that are so connected with both parties that are going to try to convince you that what you're doing and thinking is wrong. And that's because of their conditioning as well. You know what I'm saying? So they want to kind of keep you looped into the misery because, they're looped into the misery and they can't get away.
Right.
And then why should you get away? Like, we're all in this together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I know the way out of it.
Yeah.
But then you convincing me to stay trapped and kill myself within this conditioning.
Right. Wow, see, that's deep. And that rose in conditioning makes me think of, okay, we got these terms that divide us even though we're a collective of beings. We're connected, you would agree.
Yes.
So we got these terminologies like race and religion and spirituality. And I want to know how did there even become multiple religions? Was there, because I know you did a lot of study and a lot of research. How did it begin to where these things were divided, and then you got Christians, and then et cetera?
I believe that spirituality is a base interrelatable or inter-universal connection.
Ooh. Okay.
Religion is more of a political reference to different forms of a spirituality base, allegedly.
Right.
And I don't want to say like it doesn't have some spiritual base, but there's a base principle in ideology, specifically when it comes to the interrelation of all of us beings. And then when you create these titles, then these labels separate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of just being a human being, then you have to be a white human being, or a black human being, or yellow, or and I don't want to get into a bunch of derogatory specifics and statement.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure we all know what they are if we were to think about those specific references. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And the same thing when it comes to religion, where you have somebody practicing Christianity, or somebody practicing Islam or Buddhism. But all these things are just different regions that defined their practice of spirituality. Like they gave it a specific title.
Specifics, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But what I found is a lot of these teachings or these religions were based off of individuals that chose to be titleless. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about Buddha or Jesus of the Christ, you know what I'm saying? Or Muhammad, you know what I'm saying? They didn't think in such box terms. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these religions were named on behalf of these individuals. And then that became a political thing. You know what I'm saying? Because then you wind up having people of influence that are financing or backing, these units of teaching. You know what I'm saying?
For a profit.
I want to say less for a profit and more from a societal controlling condition.
Wow. See,
Through the societal control and conditioning, the profit is easy. It's just going to go right along with it.
Right.
Because you got to control the mind in order to take the body.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, ain't that how they do it in the pimp game? And that's just kind of a negative, use of a description.
Very relatable, though.
But it's relatable, you know what I'm saying? Because they got to break down that woman mentally, and then they're able to use her physically by putting her out on the stroll.
Right. See, that's deep, man.
That goes back into that family thing if you wanted to loop it with that description, because mentally you broken down into this conditioning to where physically you feel obligated to do the bidding regardless of the level of abuse.
True. The obligation goes back to that. The obligation. So you already basically answered my next question was...
Oh, did I? I was talking too much. Because I have a habit of doing that. I stopped talking too much.
You fired it away as soon as I asked you about multiple religions. And the next question was, is there something that all religions should come in agreement upon? And it's other than spirituality, what else would you say? Is there something else you think that...
The one thing that all of these religions have in its core is that there is a highest self of us. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's Buddha, whether it's being one with Jesus Christ. And, we could use that reference more specifically because it's common in this, current region.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, there's, your connection to your highest self. You know what I'm saying? To be one with Jesus, to be, one with Buddha, you know what I'm saying? To be, one with Allah. You know what I'm saying? So to be connected to your highest self is the one common thing. How you connect to that all is in kind of different wordings or teachings or conversations. You know what I'm saying? As far as how to get to that level.
Yeah.
That's where it kind of becomes, a little clouded and a little bit misconstrued, or maybe, not really understood. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they feel it as almost like it's a impossible task. Like, how am I supposed to be as great as, Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad? You know what I'm saying? So then all of these teachings kind of give you like this unattainable feeling, almost like this impossible feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, how am I supposed to be, it's comparison. You have to show in comparison, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they're trying to force your conditioning by, well, this is the greatest, thing of being, and you only could hope to be, almost as great, but what you really supposed to do is worship beneath it.
And I'm curious about Hinduism. Is Hinduism like similar to basically they focus more on the self?
Yeah, it's all Krishna, all of these religions are supposed to deal with, your inner self. You know what I'm saying? That's the core base of them.
Right.
But how it is broadcast to the masses as far as achieving the connection and practice of these, religions or these ideologies, that's where it's twisted. Because if you were to live to your highest level and everybody's living to their highest level, then what does that do to the people that have created a conditioning of control due to their influence and wealth?
They lose out.
Because they're no longer, valued, because people understand how to value themselves.
Woo! Woo! And we're going to roll into chapter 3. Presence is the present. And this, Eckhart Tolle, this dude, the power of now, you better go find it. Find a book, find an audio book. I highly recommend the audio book because you can hear it over and over and over and over and over. And that's very impactful. So I was curious, how long did it take you to become presence? Well, before I say that, what do you find in presence? Like your meaning of presence?
My meaning of presence is simply always being in the moment. Don't lose yourself outside of the moment. And even if you wind up being pushed outside of a moment, immediately recognize that you're not in the moment and put yourself back in place of the moment.
Wow, so how long? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I could break that down a little bit.
Please do, yeah.
When you talk about being in the moment, let's say everybody goes through this, where you're at work, you're working, and I've done a lot of cooking or service, to be more specific. If you're doing a service job and you run into a difficult customer, they're rude, they're loud, they'll curse you out, they'll belittle you, you know what I'm saying? They'll try to demean you. And in that moment, that is happening. Now, once that moment finalizes, dissipates, or is no longer, in practice,
right?
You know what I'm saying? That person's gone. They already left. How strong will you hold on to and resonate that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Will you let that affect the rest of your day? Or will you, fall back into present moment,
right,
and continue to move forward knowing that already happened,
right,
but not holding on to it?
Facts. That's deep, man. There goes a great example. And how long would you say it took for you to become present? Like consistently? Because if I was to say the beginning of it, I would have to say somewhere, maybe going back about 20 years ago when I was in Atlanta. I was extremely immature and very rash when it came to my professionalism, or lack of, and I was quick to be rude to a customer. I stayed in the kitchen and preferably stayed in kitchen positions behind the scenes, because I didn't want to deal with and relate with people in public. Because if they came across wrong, I already knew that I was going to snap. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just because, my whole growing up process was, don't let nobody chump you out, and I ain't no sucker.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to try to let you play me.
Right.
But when I had a deeper purpose and realized, how connected I was with anger, then I started to really be more in line with addressing my attitude. And that was shortly after I moved out here, I moved out here 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Where we at?
2013.
2013.
The year I graduated. Go ahead.
So then, probably that year after coming out here, I had to process a lot of what got me out here. Once I went through that processing period, which probably took about a year, then I started to fold more into the truth in who I was and what I needed to work on.
Right.
Or what I needed to work on.
Yeah.
So that's where it started to, begin in being present. Because I realized in order to accomplish a certain goal and take advantage of an opportunity that I had, then I had to become more present and not hold on to these angry feelings and these very, vengeful processing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it just got into reading a lot more, changing, the things that I would ingest mentally, psychologically, the type of shows that I would watch. You know what I'm saying? Instead of watching drama or following drama, I'm watching and following solutions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What was I telling somebody earlier? I was telling my daughter in a conversation. I was telling her, one of the things I had to realize was that in life is that you're not going to get rid of problems. You know what I'm saying? You have to learn of how to deal with problems better. And the more that you learn how to deal with problems better, then you become more comfortable in dealing with life. Because life isn't about getting rid of problems, because the problems of living this physical existence in this very high immature, world or processing of the human mind state, it just goes along with it. Right. But you have to be more courageous, assertive, and more educated into how to deal with situations. And the more comfortable you are into knowing that you have to deal with situations, then you're able to go through dealing with them.
And that allows you to be present because you have an understanding that I'm efficient and effective when it comes to anything that comes my way.
And I'll tell you even more that you spoke a little bit in reference, because the more that you sorry, let me let you go on because I kind of lost my point for a minute.
Oh, it's all good. I was just gonna roll into another question that you had already answered, which is the benefit of becoming present. And you basically said, hey, you can accomplish things. You can accomplish things, and also would you say like that it gives you like a sense of ease, a sense of you're kind of more chill mode.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm glad that you brought that question up because that's where I was going.
Okay.
Is you start to become better at pardon my water fell. It's almost like, not that you predict specific things to happen, but you're not surprised if something happens.
Talk about it.
You know what I'm saying? So the more present that you are able to become and be more aligned into acknowledging being present, then the probability, winds up becoming more in a sense of predictability. You follow me?
Yes, absolutely.
So then if something happens, you don't get all initially, for a long time when you're not in the present, you're so focused on the thing that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like it's brand new.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But in an immature mind state, you know what I'm saying, you're so rash and so childlike that you just focused on being angry. You know what I'm saying? Instead of moving and processing past that anger back into a state of peace.
A state of peace and presence.
Right. So the more that you are able to practice being present, then, the probability becomes predictable, and you're able to deal with things knowing that there's a process and procedure, and that it's important for you to stay present, because if you don't stay present, then you wind up trapped in time or caught in the loop of emotion.
Perfect, you said that. Is psychological time, what is that, and is it a real thing?
Yeah, psychological time is simply, you're living in the past and you're hoping for a future based on what happened in the past. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is, the present is what dictates the future. You know what I'm saying? You could let the past continue to dictate the now. And the now, because of the past, is going to be in continuance, which is your future. Your future is connected to your past, not into your present. When you're in your present, well, simply put, your present is always going to create the future.
Yeah.
So depending on where your present is, either staying stuck in that past or moving forward from that past, then that is going to be your future.
And being stuck in the past, hoping for a future, creates anxiety in the now.
That's where you get into that trapped in time or that loop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you already process forward from the past, you know what I'm saying? Now you in a different present, not connected to that prior past. So now the future is going to vary away from, what was prior past happening.
Facts. And that rolls into the next question that I
hope that wasn't too confusing for any of them.
I want to say something. Don't be afraid to run it back. Please, I highly recommend that you run it back. I don't want the views. You could screen record it the first time and just run it back on your phone. But pay attention to what he's saying, and pay attention to how he paces himself, and he's very precise with his words and how he formulates sentences, how he break things down. Run it back, man. I highly recommend. The next question I had is it easy to change the default program? And then once you change the program, is there like a curse and a blessing, or?
Oh man, let me tell anybody out there, it is not easy, but it is important. And another word that I'm going to use before I forget it, that I used earlier, and I forgot it a couple of moments in today, but at this moment, we're going to use repetition.
Tap, tap, tap.
You have to be in most repetition of this new program that you're trying to install. You know what I'm saying? Think of it like you want to be fit physically. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're speaking in a mental aspect, which is to the higher degree. The mental is going to control the physical. You know what I'm saying? If your mental is right, everything beneath your mental is going to fall in line, whether good or bad. But if you are new to working out, you have to start slow. You know what I'm saying? And you can't think like, you're going to be cut up and fit in a week. You know what I'm saying? And even if you do get to a degree of fitness, it ain't like, I already got here and I got to just stop.
Right.
Because if you stop, you're going to lose everything that you just got. You ain't going to be all cut up the same way that you was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got to stay on it once you get there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Once you get there, you already in the practice, and that practice is the repetition, which is easy because it's now part of your new programming. But to get to that programming, that new consistency of the, complementary programming, it's going to take a lot of hard work at the beginning, no different than dedicating yourself to the gym, dedicating yourself to a diet. You know what I'm saying? Dedicating yourself to meditation. Dedicating yourself to reading the Bible every day and going to church every Sunday and worshiping the Lord. You know what I'm saying? You need to be in constant practice and seriousness in your application. And basically treating your old self like the child. I was thinking of this reference earlier. There needs to be an adult in the room within yourself. And you need to tell yourself, like that child, who is that child part of you, like, this is what we doing. I don't care what you say. And if you don't fall in line, then I am going to give you a very assertive reminder.
Every time.
Every time. You know what I'm saying? I was telling my daughter today, when it comes to, dealing with, what we would generically label as problems. I'm like, look, I could probably spin off about 13 things easily that happen every single day, but you don't really hear me talk about them, if at all, for all the, random ones. The things I focus on are the ones that are closely home-based. And even those, I'm very selective on when I'm going to address them to the most assertive degree.
Right.
But I always practice being present and always practice being patient. I don't never take time off because it's easy to get, and trust me, I immediately, in my most impulsive moment, I am going to snap or spaz out, you know what I'm saying? But right past that spaz out moment, I immediately know what happened, why it happened, and knowing I'm not interested in staying like that. So then immediately I'm like, all right, we need to move forward past that. And I am going to use and practice any procedure or processing step to move past that. I have my tools. I have my music program stuff. I have my audio books. I have my actual, documented physical books. I have my documentary programs on Netflix or saved that I DVR recorded on off of my DirecTV. You know what I'm saying? Prime Video, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? YouTube. You got certain channels that have a constant productive or constructive message.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Breathing practices, meditation, and stuff like that.
Yeah, instead of watching, you know what I'm saying? And this is just two references or two different examples to a reference. Love and Hip Hop, and one of my favorite things I love to watch, and I don't even really watch Love and Hip Hop. It's more of a goofball comic thing, but I like watching a show like Bar Rescue. You know what I'm saying? Why do I like watching Bar Rescue? The reason why is because there is a solution orient to the problem base of the show. Because in the end, there is the highest level of success and fixture. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The whole process, first, the whole thing with that show with Bar Rescue is addressing the problem. Once you address the problem, then you work towards understanding how the problem is what it is. Right? Once you understand how the problem is what it is, you sit down with the other party and have them in compliance with them really relating and understanding what their problem is and to what's going on. And agreeing if they are serious about fixing it. Because if they ain't serious about fixing it, hey, I could leave you be and keep it moving and go and try to help somebody else.
Right.
And then if you're serious about that and within yourself, stating it to me, but within yourself before you state it to me, you know what I'm saying? Then we can move forward into retraining. So then we retrain everybody that is committed to the new structure. And then once we finish committing to the new structure, then, you know what I'm saying, we fancy up the exterior, which will be the business base. Right. So we reconstruct the business base after we fix the mental base. You know what I'm saying? Now we back open for business.
Right.
And everybody's feeling us. The energy's different. The atmosphere is different. The attitude is different.
Yeah.
The environment is different. Now we beautiful. people are interested.
What's the name of that show?
Bar Rescue.
Bar Rescue?
Yep.
I'm gonna have to look into that, man.
Yeah, it comes on Paramount TV, or part of the Paramount program. And the main host or person is John Taffer. He's a long-time bar rescuer, or worked in the bar industry.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a show I love to watch, you know what I'm saying? Because it shows the progression and the stages of the levels from failure to success. You know, you're the failure. Do you understand why you're failing? We have the documentation to, you know, show you why you're failing if you're choosing to not recognize it. Because now that you see yourself failing and it's you, how could you deny it?
Wow. And then they focus on progression.
And then
basically.
it's focused on solution orient, past problem base. When you deal with these other shows like your Love and Hip Hop, or what's the one? I just got out of prison, and you know, now I got a girlfriend. I can't think of the name of it, but they got all these crazy reality shows. You know what I'm saying? Based on looped drama, looped problems. You know what I'm saying? Base problem shows in loop sequence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For people who's addicted,
man. Addicted to drama. Addicted to drama.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? You addicted to anger and drama before you addicted to the alcohol, before you addicted to the crack, before you addicted to the pills. You know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking as an addict, because I am it. I was 17 years on cocaine and whatever, 34 just to name a loose term. 17, I quit when I was 40. No, that's a lie. I quit when I was 45. 45, I quit alcohol. Started drinking when I was 18. What's that? 28 years? Pretty good at math. 28. 28 years. 28 years alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? And it all really started because I was angry. And then I used those as releases or coping mechanisms.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you addicted to the anger, that's how you looping into all of these, surround yourself with this anger. You know what I'm saying? These shows, this music. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a put a hole in your back. This person tried me, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put him down, you know what I'm saying? And that's a psychology. It's anger based. Yes. All you are is surrounding yourself and connecting yourself with anger. Like you're engaged and married to anger.
Man.
Yeah, sorry if I was talking too much.
No, that was much needed to be heard, that last piece, because as we wrap up right here, I want to say I stopped listening to hip hop music, especially like the modern day. I just stopped listening to it, and I'll go back and bump some like back when it what till I get my, cause it's meaningful, you know, like stuff like that. Or the Diamonds Are Forever featuring him and Jay-Z. The word, the lyrics is meaningful. It's very relatable. But the hip hop today, I'm not constantly listening to that. You see what I got playing in the background? This is electronic music. It's just an instrumental that plays and help us flow as we get this information out to you. So with that being said, man, is there anything else that you want to leave the people with? I know you're going to send me the link so I could drop it in the description for your project. Anything else, though, that you want to leave them with, like a last thought or mindset that they need to take with them?
Well, the main thing I usually tell people is it's okay. You know, and that's a song I'm working on sometime coming up. It's called It's Okay. And the whole premise behind that song is telling yourself, like, all these things that you went through, these feelings that you have, it's okay. Not to continue to feel like that, but the fact that you are feeling like that and you seriously don't want to feel like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? You did go through these things. You were abused. You were hurt. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay. And it's going to take a lot of work, you know, and it's okay to ask for help. And people will understand that there is going to be patience within the process, for you to break your addiction.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But unless you're honest with yourself first, you truly won't be honest with someone else and making it easier for them to help guide you towards where you're trying to be, spiritually and psychologically. But outside of that, I was just gonna say my platform, Stay Woke with Sensei Fouché. We're here on YouTube, and we're gonna have the album dropping for Sensei Fouché. A trilogy we're working on, and the first project is on June 28th. Again, patient XY1973 330311. Check it out when it's available. I'm really proud of the project, and as much as I love it, I probably love creating the work most.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Speaking about something that I'm extremely passionate about, trying to help people, not trying to belittle them and, beat them down.
No doubt.
My thing is, I want people to be better and let them understand, like, none of us are Tom Hanks in that movie Castaway on that damn boat talking to a volleyball or past the boat. We on the island talking to the volleyball. And that's what this album is about, or even the things that we talk about is, everybody goes through this, but then, where we trying to go? And how do we get there?
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? And I really admire you for being able to reach out to, your core group and your audience and, the people that resonate and connect with you. You know what I'm saying? And for me, being able to inspire and help you in some manner, makes me feel connected to your people. And I feel inspired to know that, the viewers you have, I was able to help encourage you to be able to have these people follow what you're talking about and be able to resonate with you, because I may not resonate with them the same way I resonate with specific people, but being that me and you resonate well, and then you able to connect to them in the way that you able to connect to them.
No doubt. Appreciate that, man, and I know they appreciate it because
this is a special individual, you know what I'm saying? And I feel honored to have him acknowledge me to being a part of reaching a point to where he's at, you know what I'm saying? And being able to help all of you. If I'm able to help him, you don't even got to watch me, you know what I'm saying? Watch him if you need to. I want you to do that, you know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Because whoever you able to help, then I feel honored.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? I do wish for people to check me out, but if you're able to connect with Pac-Boy, please do that to the highest degree. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And thank you for having me here.
Hey, thank you for being here. It's an honor, a pleasure every time, and I level up. We both level up every time. If y'all go back and watch the shows, you'll see the development and the progress. The same with him. When you go to check him out, he's progressing. And I didn't know on the first video he ever did, he said he was nervous. You can't even tell. You can't tell. So I said that to say, man, it's your round, Pac-Boy Dolo. Check it out. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and keep following this train. You dig? Peace.